What is up, Internet? Nerdlocker.com back with more comic reviews this week, and I started off with Batman number 20. This is the second part of the Clayface storyline, which I can say that now because if you didn't read the last issue, the villain's Clayface, and it's awesome. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. I love that Scott Snyder is using him. He's also got a sweet little prototype in this book, a little nod to some Batman lore, and it is just, it's so cool reading a Batman book written by someone who loves Batman so much. So you see little nods like that and little hints and teases and stuff like that. Greg Capullo's artwork just gets better every issue. But we kind of see Batman still going over the loss of Damian. I do like how that is staying a theme in these comics. I was kind of wondering if it would just be in Batman Inc. or if it would just be mentioned in other stuff. But I really like that now this is something that is weighing on Bruce Wayne and affecting how he does things. And the backup story, also really, really incredible. It's kind of setting up for this, Batman and Superman book coming out, but it's cool to see them finally teaming up in the New 52. Just a little short two-part story, but I enjoyed it a lot. I'm giving this issue 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Alright guys, so I got to read Uncanny Avengers number 8, the Ocho, this week. It was a lot of fun, a really, really great book. I really enjoy this whole title. I love the concept behind it, and I've said it a million times. I've given it pretty much all 5 Nerd Skull reviews, and this is probably going to be a 4 out of 5 because it wasn't as crazy, but it was still pretty good. So I really enjoy the art direction kind of changing a little bit. It's very similar to John Cassidy's art style, which was what it was, but it's a very different artist doing something that's not as muddled or crazy or too colorful as he used to do. It's a lot more toned down, his style is, and it's really, really cool. Daniel Cunha, you're pretty awesome now. Anyways, check this out. This story is getting really, really heated up. A little slower in this issue, but it's fine. It's still a great book. 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Check it out, guys.
What's up, nerds? This week I got to read Batman and Robin. Well, actually, Batman and the Red Hood, issue 20. Great book. You're just getting to see a lot of emotion for Bruce Wayne. He's just going through with the loss of his son, and now he's just trying to figure out, what to do, what steps he's going to take to try to bring Damian back. So you thought was going to be more of a buddy kind of a situation between him and Red Hood, kind of creating their bond again. Turns out to be just Bruce trying to selfishly figure out why, why the Red Hood came back, how he came back, and then if there's a way that he can put this to use for his son. So very powerful stuff for Batman. You can just see Bruce Wayne hurting in a way we haven't seen in, ever before for him. So it's just definitely great to get to read and check out. Awesome writing, great artwork. I give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Check it out.
Hey guys, this is Haley, and this week I got to read The Avengers number 11. Now I'm going to say this book was pretty fun, especially from what the cover suggests, that this whole issue takes place in Hong Kong. In the cover they're kind of dressed up in that sort of Harajuku anime style, which was really, I liked what they did with it. The inside kind of felt like almost like an Ocean's 11 type of almost heist. It wasn't a heist, but it just kind of gives you that feel like you're watching one of those types of movies, and it's really fun to see everybody kind of plan how they're going to take down the bad guys, all while throwing in chips and playing poker and everything. So that was really cool. However, I would have liked to see more of heroes in costumes. I feel like I didn't get that enough. It was just kind of them planning the next step, but I think the next issue is we're gonna see that more. So I'm gonna give this book 3.5 Nerd Skulls. It was a fun book.
Hey there, nerds. Jim here with my review of Archer and Armstrong number 0. Usually I'm not a big fan of 0 numbered comics. I think they're just kind of ways for companies to get more money out of us. But I really enjoyed this one from Valiant. It's a break from the storyline that they've been doing, and you have Archer trying to catch up on pop culture. Pretty cool, because we all know he's been holed away with his parents for a very long time as they've brainwashed and inundated him with their way of thinking. So Armstrong comes in and entertains him. His first story that he wanted to read was the story of Gilgamesh, which I know of, but I don't know anything about it. Armstrong breaks in and says, I know this story, you don't need to read it. So he begins to tell the tale, and it's not just one guy, Gilgamesh, it's the story of 3 brothers. How does he know this? Because he was there. And the brothers are Ivar, Aram, who is Armstrong, and Galad, who we know is his brother. And it's really cool because he tells the tale of the three brothers setting off to find this ancient thing, which turns out to be the boon, the whole thing that started this mess in the first place. They find the boon, and what's really cool is it ties right back in to Archer and Armstrong #1, and when the boon set off and exploded, basically the very first page of the comic. I really enjoyed it. I don't know how Fred Van Lent knows this history, how he knows all sorts of history. I'm very impressed with his writing. I really enjoyed this book. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Next up, I got to review Justice League of America #3. This book's starting a little bit slow. I know they're kind of building up to some big things with the, the villains, and we're going for the Trinity War. But I'm starting to get in this feel that this team may not last long because it is run by the government, and you see in this issue that they're already kind of dispersed. Stargirl really doesn't go on a mission like she wants to, and they're kind of telling her, I don't give a crap how ready you think you are, you're not going, and this is why, and they have dirt on everyone, and I'm just waiting to see how this pans out. I'm very excited for it. I love the characters that they have, and this first mission they go on is pretty cool and shows how not all of them really have the training that they should, and how this is kind of weighing down on Steve Trevor. But I'm still waiting to see that entire team together with everyone all involved, and I mean, that's what I'm waiting for. This was a good read, but I am waiting for more. I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, so I get to read Storm Dogs #5, and I'll start off by saying I've never read this book or understood what it was about. And I was really hoping that there would be like a little catch-up thing, like a little paragraph, tell you what the story was about. There wasn't, which kind of sucks, especially if you want to just try something new and you figure that this is a good place to start. It isn't. I didn't really know what was going on. The artwork, though, was pretty dang awesome. And the story wasn't too bad. It was a cool, crazy sci-fi-ness, all kinds of aliens and monsters and humans and space kind of stuff. It was really cool and interesting, and I kind of want to know more about it. I don't know more about it, and it ends with a really crazy page. That probably would have blown my mind, but since I didn't know anything, it didn't really do anything for me. But I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls because it was still a solid read. Check it out if you're into something a little crazy.
Hey fellow nerds, Jasper here with my review of Deadpool issue 9. Now in this issue we have Deadpool, Michael, and Benjamin Franklin still on the hunt to try to find a way to transfer Agent Preston's soul out of Deadpool's mind, seeing as Deadpool already has enough crazy stuff going on in his head that he doesn't really need Preston herself. So they find a cult library which they feel that they can find potential books that might find a way to get her out. Only problem is that it's in a police precinct, so they now need to find a way to get into the police precinct and break down into the library. Which was interesting because Deadpool wanted to pretty much blow it all up, but Michael had an alternative way of doing so which worked. So they finally get down into the library, and do they find it? Do they not find the books? The book itself is very interesting because it ends up cutting into another part where Deadpool is still, hunting people for Vetus, and that's pretty much what a lot of the issues are revolving around. Is Deadpool is now a merc finding and hunting down, not necessarily jobs where he's getting paid, but it's more for Vetus and Mephisto's incarnation. So they pretty much rip into Aquaman in the whole DC line as Deadpool himself ends up trying to take out someone who has the abilities of Aquaman, kind of looks like Aquaman, but due to other licensing rights, obviously it can't be Aquaman. But the issue itself was pretty fun, more so than the previous issue, but I definitely did enjoy it.
Alright guys, I got to review Constantine #3. First off, I love that we've taken all these other characters and integrated them into the DC universe, but I love that Constantine is getting ready to play this huge role. So he was already a big character, he's got such a big following, and I like that they just haven't thrown him in and he's become just another side character of the DC universe. I know he's going to have a lot to do with this Trinity War. I love that he has his own series as well as doing the Justice League Dark, and I love that we're seeing him pop up around, all the other books. This book is so cool because we're getting to see him personally and kind of how he handles things. You know, we've seen him in Dark and everything else, but you kind of just see him playing things a little bit closer than he should. This one you really see what he does and what he's willing to do and who he's willing to sacrifice to get what he wants to survive and get what he needs to, you know, continue on his mission. I love this book. I love the writing. I love the artwork. I can't wait to see what else this holds with the whole Trinity War coming up. I'm giving this 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, so I got to read Thor, God of Thunder, number 8, the Ocho. And it was a really, really awesome story. This has been one of my favorite Thor stories. Previously, the J. Michael Straczynski relaunch from a couple years ago was my, like, oh man, this is such a crazy story. But no, this is like 3 times the Thor with a god killer dude and like Thor's granddaughters and drinking, and they're complaining about not being able to drink more. And it's kind of funny and like badass and cool. And this issue was very, very more like subdued compared to everything else. A lot more development story-wise and blah, 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 all that crap, exposition. Whatever, it's a Thor book, and you know there's going to be just hammer throwdown in the next couple issues, which I cannot wait for. This is the second out of a 5-part story arc, and they're pretty much getting to the action right now, so I hope like the next 2 issues are just non-stop beatdowns. That'd be the greatest thing ever. It's probably going to happen because Jason Aaron is a badass. I can't wait to read this next issue, but this one, 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Hands down, easily, 5 out of 5.
Lastly, I got to review X, number 1, from Dark Horse. I think there was a series before this one that I did not read because there's a big explanation page about what's happened to the character and where he is now. But honestly, that was enough to get me into this book and get me reading. The artwork is awesome. I want to say that first off. I love the artwork in this. The story kind of looks like kind of that unlikely pairing of this girl reporter and this superhero now. At least that's how the first issue kind of leads up to, is these two kind of having to work together to find out the big picture of what's going on. Because there's a murder at the beginning and the cops are trying to just get rid of the evidence for it. They really don't want anyone to know. So it seems like there's a bigger picture here. We're just waiting to see it. It got me interested. I'd like to see more. Probably go back and read the first one if I can find it, but I'm gonna give this 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, so I got to read Star Wars number 5 as well. Man, I really didn't expect like a really good Star Wars story like this. It gives you a look at the characters that you're not really used to. It's a younger version of Leia. It's a younger version of Luke. You know, yeah, we see him younger than this because this takes place between episodes 4 and 5, but it's right after that. They're all hopped up on young hormones and confidence and stuff. And Leia especially does a lot of things that I would view out of character, but reading it, it kind of makes sense and it's cool and it's crazy, and if you're just reading a fun story, you don't have to think about stuff like that. You can, or oh my god, Leia wouldn't do anything like that, it's so stupid. She would. She's a Skywalker. She totally would do the most badass thing that she does in this issue, and you should totally read about it. Also, Boba Fett and Bosk show up in this issue, and while I hate both of them, it's still pretty cool to see them, that they're using the whole universe and using all the characters and stuff. And even if you just see them for a minute, like, yeah, I hate Boba Fett because you only see him a few times. People give him this crazy backstory and, oh, he's awesome. But you really only see him a couple of times. Most of the time he's like a chump. He doesn't really do much. And this issue, they show him a little bit. He doesn't do much, but it's intimidating. And it actually comes off as like, whoa, Boba Fett's here. Watch out. Keep away from that guy. Like, you know, in the movies, every time I see him, oh, it's crazy armor, but I don't feel that. This issue made me feel that, and I like it for it. It's going to get 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls for that. Read this book now.